Let's take an average Latino or Hispanic family, right? What are the values? Because why I'm asking? Every time I see some crazy liberals that have transitioned their kids or something like that,
Right.
they're almost always either white or black. No Mexicans, no Latinos, no Hispanics, no Asians. Why?
Wow. So I'll give you a little background. So my last name, my grandfather, great grandfather, that our Arebalo name is from Mexico, and then I have my mom's side. Her mother was French and German, and her father we think they were Mexican. We're not 100% sure.
Okay.
And then on my just my grandfather for our last name comes from is Mexican.
Okay.
But growing up, we grew up as, okay, what are you? And so it was very difficult because I had on my, my grandmother on my dad's side was, Filipino, and then my grandfather was Mexican, and she was like Filipino and Spaniard. And then we talked about Spain earlier, and then on my mom's side, it was like we didn't really know my grandfather. Their last name's Calvary, and so we're like, okay, but we brought up as being Mexican. We thought, okay, and then her mother was white, so a good mix for us. So for me, it was really difficult, but I grew up around Mexican. When people would ask me, I'd say, well, we're Mexican. That's what we are. And then when we became Christian, my dad would say, well, we're Christian American. That's our heritage. But I think when you go to like I think the values, right? I think Hispanic community accepts that, but it's weird how you're right. It's like rich and white want to transition their kids, and I have a theory why rich and white people want to transition their kids, and it could be rich and white or a rich whatever. Why they want to transition? I think it becomes like a badge of honor for those parents. They think in their mind, like, look at me. My kid is 4 years old and said he's a boy and he wanted to be a girl. So I put a dress on him. Look at me. I'm a great parent. That's the way it seems to me. It seems like it's one of those things where they try to say,
it seems like you have nothing to impress your neighbors with, and this is the only thing how to start the conversation.
I think they want to be a part of some sort of like thing online. And if you watch, a lot of them will post it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get all these likes and I'm like,
lots of them in Hollywood.
Your kid, I mean, why? And they're 4 years old. They last week they wanted to be a dinosaur.
Yeah. Convert them.
Yeah.
Why not?
So I think it's in all communities though. I think all communities are way more open to it now. I really feel the main issue is just it becomes like this badge of honor for these parents.
Did you grow up with mom and dad?
Yes.
Let's say you were 10 years old and you come up to your dad and say, "Dad, I want to be a girl." Would you get slapped?
I would get laughed at for sure.
What if you say like 10 times, 10 days in a row?
We don't
stop it.
Yeah, I would be like, yeah, no.
Average Mexican, Latinos, Hispanics do that? Would do that even now?
I think so. Yeah.
Whites would never do that.
Huh.
How come? How can you raise your voice? No chance. It's so offensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Abuelos and abuelas are more respected amongst Hispanics than amongst whites?
You come from a good family, you respect your family, yeah.
Do grandmas and granddads are more respected than parents? Because they're older?
I think it's a different respect.
But you listen to what they say?
Yes, for the most part.
Even now, in 2025?
If
your kids listen to your abuela?
Oh, their grandpa and grandma? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Because I believe amongst whites, it's like, it was done, I want to say, 20 to 30 years ago. We kind of, they're old, they're stupid. They don't know how to use iPads. Grandma, what do you know?
I think that's across the board, though. I don't think it's necessarily a race thing, right? I think more kids are turned.
Whites are more liberal. We're liberated. from being parented.
You think that?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
Because amongst the blacks, I had two guests that were African Americans. They were like, no. I listen to my grandma. There is no way I disrespect my grandma or my grandfather or even my mom.
Right.
I'm gonna get slapped.
Right. Yeah, I think that's true. I think there'll always be kids that are going to be disrespectful towards their parents and their grandparents.
Let's say your kid, 10 years old, comes up to you and says, "Dad, I want to be a girl." After 2 months of negotiations, you say, "Okay," but your mom, she's alive.
Mm-hmm.
But your mom finds out.
Yeah.
She beats the shit out of you for this decision, right? How could you do that to my grandchild? There's no way. Are you out of your mind?
Yeah. I think there is. I mean, look, there is a thing where you're the parents and then there's the grandparents. I think it's different. For my family, and even when I look at my kids now with their grandparents and their interaction, it's a different respect. Maybe with your parents, there's a little bit more fear in that respect, a good fear. And I think with the grandparents, there's a factor of, this is my grandfather, I have respect for him, let me listen to him. Now, do they do always times what he says? Maybe not. But I think they take the time to say, okay, this is a patriarch of our family, we're going to listen to him. But I think with parents, there is a little bit of fear. But I think you get to a point in time as a kid, once again, where we talked about, as a teenager, you might be not listening to anybody. Mm-hmm. And then you get to a little bit of an adult and you realize once again,
Mom was right.
Yeah.
You have to go outside. Sun is great.
Right. I got to get a job now. I got to work. I got to pay bills. They were right. I should have did this. So I think there's a different level of respect. I think in the Hispanic community, I think there is, a little bit more respect for the elderly. I can't call the white what they do.
But do you agree that whites are more liberal than Hispanics? By liberal, I mean more secular, right? The fourth commandment, honor your mom and dad. If you're more secular, more liberal, you don't know the 10 commandments.
I don't know if it's a cultural thing, though.
Really?
I wouldn't agree that it's like whites are less respectful of their parents and grandparents. I wouldn't say that. I would say probably the structure of the family is what matters the most. Because some people say, well, black and brown, it's just horrible. There's not enough fathers in their lives, and I think, you can say that about white people too. So I think across the board has problems. I don't think there's one race that probably raises their family. I can 100% say they raise their families better. I'll tell you this though, when you have two parents in the home and a father that's taking care of business, that's the difference.
Correct.
I think that's the biggest difference. Because you can be white.
Okay, but name me at least one celebrity that is Hispanic or Latino that transitioned her kids or his kids.
I couldn't tell you. Okay, if we're talking about Hollywood, that's a whole different thing.
There were more whites.
There's an actress right now. I think she transitioned 3 of her sons.
Oh, Charlize Theron
or Angelina Jolie. Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Yeah, they transitioned 3 of her. How does? Maybe you have.
Yeah, she said I dug into it. She didn't transition. She let her kids be what they want to be and dress like they wanted. So basically, boys are being dressed like girls in skirts and she's saying that I'm good. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, she says that they want it to be girls.
But Angelina Jolie has a trans kid. Jennifer Garner has a trans kid. Charlize Theron, I believe, she has one adopted African American kid that she transitioned. He became a she. You've got Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest.
I want to say even Shaq. I believe even Magic. Shaq, I'm sorry. Magic. Legend of LA.
Yeah.
Magic. Yeah. How could you do that? And no Latinos, tell me. Name me at least one.
I don't know.
You do something better than us?
Maybe there's something there. I don't know. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's a shame thing. I don't know. Maybe it's more hidden. I don't know the theory on that. I couldn't answer that. I know but you're right. I was going to say amongst stars, it's like a little, well, hey, look what I got. You know, I got a trans kid. Hey, I'm part of the club now. I got money, I got fame, and a trans kid. That's how they look at it.